Yep, this is Rodrigo. I'm actually not a shoe designer. I'm a shoe producer. I start from the basis of how to produce the shoes and how to build it, and from a very base of it. So I'm Argentinian, living in Brazil, with experience in NGOs and international cooperation, and as well in fashion. And now I'm doing this project, which is called Linking Dots, connecting the dots of my previous background, as well as the 4 pillars where the project is based, that are collaboration, cooperation, sustainability, and economic management. This is an alternative business system that we are proposing, and the funnel to make the vision, the mission of the project feasible is the shoe, is Dotz, is the loafer that we produce, and we present this as an alternative business system. Here I'm based in Milan right now, in the middle of the sales campaign during the COVID crisis, hoping the best, and doing the best we can to make it happen, even if the situation is not the best.
Okay, that's a nice introduction. Irene, you want to start off? Ladies first, please.
Yeah, so I guess I wanted to ask you, I sort of, checked out your profile on Instagram, and I looked at your wonderful, wonderful shoes. And they reminded me of Milan, because I'm Italian originally, so I did live in Milan for a few years. And I guess I just wanted to know what particular way are the shoes and the company sustainable, and why, was this, I guess, important to you? And then I also have another question, why do you think it's important for fashion in general, perhaps, to become more sustainable?
Well, our project, it's not only about sustainability. Sustainability is one of the pillars of the project. We're not technicians on sustainability. We are trying to propose, as I said, an alternative business system that creates value for the ecosystem that is inserted to. Sustainability for us, the project actually started many years ago. As linking the dots. We did a first project in 2003 in Iraq during the Iraqi war, and we did the first project linking fashion and cooperation together with Trenes, which is a German brand. Maybe you break know it. It used to be a very famous brand in the 80s. We did a recreational area in Iraq. I'm talking about 18 years ago, my God, a long time ago. So the backbone of the project, the base of the project, started a long time ago, and right now we're just linking the dots. That's why the project is called Linking the Dots. On sustainability, punctually, focusing on sustainability, we start producing agroecological cotton in the north of Brazil with small family farmers. That was the first approach that we had to sustainability. We were willing to create something which was vegan, animal-free, and very much using sustainable components as one of the pillars. So we start by the cotton. That was it was a very hard challenge to produce cotton in the north of Brazil with small farmers. We were not coming from that background. It was a lot of work. It was very tough, but finally we did it. So this is one of the goals that we at the beginning was for us, was one of the core goals. And we also work as well with recycled domestic waste. Our shoe boxes are produced with toothbrushes and shavers, recycled plastic. And that was another project that we did with the University of the South of Brazil and different institutions. Sustainability is core for us because, we have to create systems that create value to everyone and the ecosystem, not just for us, not just for one stakeholder, not just for one part of the supply chain. We have to, what we want is to create value for the whole thing, also for the retailer, which is very important. We were talking about fashion before starting recording, but also the retailers are going through a very hard time. It's not easy to be a retailer right now. So the idea is to create value in every step of the value chain of our project. And there is where sustainability comes in. Second question is why I think fashion eventually should go into sustainable path. I mean, this is very obvious answer. I mean, our planet is full of unnecessary products, unnecessary materials, and unnecessary things, and we should reduce as soon as possible our consumption in general in order to keep the health of the planet at an acceptable level. Right now, we're just going through, we're just completely exaggerating the way we consume and the way we treat the resources that we have. It's not easy for brands to go. It's much easier for us because we are a small project. I mean, it's different if you start by small and focusing on sustainability to make something that works. It's probably tougher for a brand which has different interests that have a very large stake of stakeholders to go into sustainability, because they have to restructure the whole supply chain. They have to go into new ways of producing things, which is a must-have to us. We also have to understand that it's one step at a time. I mean, it's one single step for a big company is a big thing. So we have to stop somehow judging others and start doing with the greater goal in order to create a greater impact. Now we have to have more empathy between every one of the players, trying very honestly to do things differently and not just for the sake of the trend or just the turnover. This is my view.
So Rodrigo, I wanted to chime in on what you said. The entire product chain then is sustainable, correct? From beginning to end,
Ours.
even the box.
Ours.
Yes.
Well, no. Yeah, not the entire thing, because it's, at one point you have to trade off what you want to do, what you're willing to do, and what you can do. Some things we couldn't do because of lack of resources, because of lack of mature supply chain. So you have to choose, goals and objectives. What we chose was cotton, upcycling fabrics, not the use of animal components. And also the shoebox produced with plastic messy waste. Something we have to improve, as for example the sole. The sole of our shoe is not leather; it's still rubber. It's not rubber from the plant. It's rubber which is, it can be recycled, but it's not. It can be recyclable, but it's not recycled. So we have a margin to improve that. And the insole, for instance, as well, is not recycled. But the thing is, we didn't find and we didn't have the resources to go into new battles. Every component that we have in our shoes, it was a battle for us. To produce an upper with organic cotton, with the upcycling fabrics, is very challenging. It's very challenging to put up a product which at the end of the day sells, because this is the driver. The product has to sell in order to make the whole system work. So you cannot be just living the utopia of things. You have to make, our goal is to make a system that actually create value. So we have to sell in order to make it work, just to be a case.
Were you struggling because they're just
yeah.
producers to help you with, whatever biodegradable insole or whatever you were looking for?
Well, we were struggling because there is not a mature ecosystem. I mean, if we go into the market to look for as a project or as a company, whatever you want to call it, to look for a sustainable alternative to your components, you don't have. I mean, in Italy, obviously, in mature countries, you have a bit more options. But if you go to Brazil, for instance, I mean, it's not mature at all the supply chain for sustainable components on the shoe industry. So if you think already making a project is tough, already making a business is very tough especially in this situation. If you have to do it with aligned to your vision, which is ours, one of them is sustainability, it becomes very complex. So actually I had to leave myself with the farmer, just for you to understand how, I mean, it's not only to learn how to produce the shoes, to become a shoemaker, it's also to grow a plant. So we became kind of the farmers as well in order to produce the cotton. We live with the farmer in order to grow the cotton. There is no ecological cotton available on the market to buy. The one that we need, right? So it was very tough because every component that you need, you go to the market and you don't find it sustainable. So if you want it, you have to produce it. And to produce it, you have to create a further project in order to develop that component that then is going to be just a small part of your product. So we at one point, we became.
We lost him.
I think he froze.
Froze.
I think his internet's a bit.
We have some that. You can be. We are as best as we can.
Hold on. I can cut it right here. You froze for a minute.
You hear me?
Yeah, now. So what you said a minute ago, you froze.
Okay. So what did I say a minute ago? I was saying, yeah.
I think we were recording until you said that you had to create, that if you were looking, for something sustainable, you have to create it, and it's just such a tiny part of your component.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be very focused on your goal. I mean, our goal is not to be suppliers of sustainable components to the shoe industry. This is not our goal. Our goal is to create an alternative business system that creates value for everyone. But since we didn't have one part of the whole chain, which was suppliers aligned to our vision, we have to become suppliers. We have to become suppliers of our own components sometimes. But you cannot become supplier of everything because the learning curve to understand how to produce something is huge. We already have the learning curve of how to produce shoes. But and now we have the basic knowledge of how to produce cotton, how to use fabrics, how to use upcycling fabrics, how to produce boxes with plastic domestic waste, and so on. But you cannot have it of everything, so it's endless. So you have to focus on your core goal, your core vision. That's why I said is you have to put at one point, you have to put a limit and say, listen, I can do it till this point. I cannot do that because I don't have the capabilities of developing every component that is going to be just part of one single product. Okay. So having said that, it was very tough, and we are as best as possible as what we can today. I don't know if it's understandable. So not every single component is sustainable. For instance, the soles could be recycled, not recyclable. The insoles could be recycled, not recyclable. But this is the best that we can do today. Our goal is to improve it. And but in order to improve it, we have to make the ecosystem work and create value and have the resources to go into a new challenge, which is new project to develop a sustainable sole aligned to our project. So we have to be very clear on that. I mean, it's being 100% sustainable. It's very tough, and you have to be very honest on what you can do and what you do, and what you say. This is what to me is very important. Yeah.
But your background is not fashion, and you weren't trained as a fashion designer, for example, and then to all of a sudden jump into fashion and then sustainable fashion. That's a lot to deal with, isn't it? That's a lot to carry to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, my background is not fashion designer, it's not a product. I worked in fashion several years, and so it's one of the, I changed my life drastically when I started with the project. I used to work for Doxandabarat as a Latin American director, retail director, and I want to change my life, let's say, and so also as well I have the learning curve of my expertise, because as you say, I didn't come from products, so I have to become a shoemaker. I have to learn how to produce a shoe, and I start from a very simple thing, which is buying a sewing machine in my house. And that sewing machine became a factory in my house. And that factory then became separately my house and my factory. And now I live above of my factory. That's, they used to do it 60 years ago. I don't know. But now I live, there is my little atelier, my little factory, and I live in the second floor. And every day I just go down, I work with my team and blah, 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 and go up. But yeah, it was very tough to become a product. So I changed my headphone.
he's having some technical problems out there. Okay, so we're gonna.
It was very tough to.
It's very tough.
I lost it. I changed my phone because I was running out of battery. Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry for that. Yeah, no, as I was saying, it was very tough to become a shoemaker, where my background was completely different. I used to work in international corporations, NGOs, United Nations, this kind of ecosystem. Then I worked for fashion many years, but as a commercial. And so becoming a shoemaker was very tough. Yeah.